everybody, and welcome once again to the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Sam and I are very happy to have Spartan head coach Kerry Brown with us today, basketball coach. And so, Kerry, can we talk about basketball?
We can.
You give us permission to, huh?
24/7, 365, it seems like sometimes.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about anything you guys want to.
Okay, this is September, but November's not too far away.
We're working out. We're in workout 7 in week 3. This is our first workout of the week. We're week 3 of our preseason fall conditioning type stuff.
Is this under the HSAA? Okay.
Yeah. They give us 4 hours a week with the basketball in our hands. We use about 3 of them, and then we lift 3 days a week on top of that. So we're only in there a total of 3 days, 2 of them with the basketball and weights, and then 1 day we go in and just condition and lift. So we try to get 3 lifts in a week and about 3 hours worth of stuff with the basketball in our hands.
How are the kids doing?
Good. Decent numbers, maybe 16 high school kids that aren't involved in a fall sport. And then we've even got a couple middle school kids coming in, and they're sticking to it, and it's not easy. So I'm pretty happy with them, and they'll just be that much further ahead and prepared for, you know, coming in and working out with these high school guys.
Sam, looks like everything's under control.
Well, you know that Coach Brown's going to have it under control.
That's for sure.
And he and his coaching staff, which I think do a great job all in all. And just 72 days away.
I was wondering if you had the count for us.
Yeah, until the boys open up against Union County night before Thanksgiving, which is kind of homecoming. We don't have homecoming in basketball, but if there was, that would be it.
And we didn't get to do that last year.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
So let's hope.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
A lot can happen between now and then, but let's hope we have more of a normal season this year than it was last year.
We'll hope for the better.
Normal times the field has Spartan Bowls filled.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the biggest night of the year. I know Brent likes that night. Brings in a lot of money. So,
Everyone looks forward.
And I'm sure that coffers are down because of last year. Even when we could play, it was restricted most of the time. So.
In graduation, graduated 2 boys, so that means you have some veterans returning.
Yeah, Jonah Graham, senior guard, graduated. He's at Kentucky Wesleyan playing golf. And then senior Cole Martin is now a volunteer. He's at the University of Tennessee. I saw him at the football game a couple weeks ago against Scottsburg and got to speak to him a little bit, and sounded like everything was going okay. Jonah's probably pretty busy right now. I'm not sure if it's the season, but I think they actually play the fall and the spring season, but I'm not sure if one or both are their collegiate season, but he's probably pretty busy right now.
Sure.
So, yeah, we lost those 2. We returned 8 guys then that played in our rotation and had a pretty good summer. Have a couple guys that had a good summer for us, and they'll figure somewhere in there. So we'll have about 10 guys that we'll have to select from, and if someone surprises, maybe we'll get an 11th guy in there, but overall we had a good summer.
What about the upcoming schedule? Any changes you know of?
We're going to host a tournament this year. It's going to be a boys and girls tournament on December 23rd. I'm not familiar with who the girls teams are. The boys teams are going to have in Bloomington North, Monroe Central, and South Decatur, and ourselves. And I think the girls will play the first 2 games of the day. Then the boys will play the next 2 games of the day. Then the girls will come back and play in the afternoon, the winners and losers, and then the boys will follow up that evening. So it'll be just 1 day, 8 games. It'll be a pretty good day. And then another change to our schedule is we'll be in the Hall of Fame tournament at Newcastle. Okay. And that's on the 30th. I want to say a week after we play and host that tournament on the 23rd. It's a boys and girls as well, for the people not familiar, but it'll be Connorsville. We'll play Westfield in the first game of the day, I believe, on the 30th. And then Indianapolis Cathedral will play Homestead out of Fort Wayne in the second game of the day. Same thing, winners and losers will match up and come back and play that night.
Are you invited to that tourney? Is that how it happens?
Yeah, that's an invitation only. It's also, those games are exempt from your normal schedule, so they don't count against your 24, or depending on how many tournaments you play in, your regular scheduled number of games. So if you get invited to something like that, you get a couple extra games in.
It's at Newcastle,
Yes, it is.
home of the House of Fame for Connersville.
You know, we've
basketball.
played well up there. We don't get to go as much since we're not in the same sectional with those guys, but we've played well and had a lot of success up there. Most recently, anyway, over the years, it's been a home away from home kind of. We'll need it to be for this thing too, because these teams are loaded. We went to banquet the other night, and Cathedral's got 5 guys, I think he said, have Division I scholarship offers. Homestead has 1 or 2. Westfield has 1 for sure, and I think maybe a second. And both of their best players, one's committed to Purdue, and I think Purdue's offered the kid from Homestead. And then see who did I leave out up there? I guess the Spartans is who I've left out, and we've got an offer as well. Toby Billups has been offered by IU East. So,
Good.
that's a good thing for him and us, and IU East.
It's interesting, Connersville and Homestead, both called the Spartans. It'd be nice to maybe Spartans square off at Spartan Bowl. I think the only other school in the state called the Spartans is Southwestern and Shelby.
Yeah.
But
I'm familiar with all the 3 of us. I'm not sure if there's anybody else or not. What's the collars for Homestead, Fort Wayne Homestead? And they're coached by a Brookville gentleman. Is it Chris Johnson? I can't remember if it's Chris or because his brother also coached. Mark was his brother who coached in South Bend, so there was a little bit of local connection there. What's their colors, Sam? I figured you'd know that.
I'm thinking
putting Sam on the hot seat.
I'm thinking of blue and gold, but I could be wrong.
It is. You're right.
Yeah.
Couldn't pull it by him.
Came up with it, huh?
That was a good time up there, and rubbing elbows with people that love basketball and some Hall of Fame type coaches. Myron Dickerson was there, and got to catch up with him. What a gentleman, and pretty sharp for 87 years old. Looks good. Looks to be in good health, and had his son and his son-in-law with him, so it's good to see them as well.
The who's who of Indiana basketball. Maybe not everybody was there, but Myron Dickerson and Ray Pavey, of course, struck up a conversation with us because we were seated near him, and of course I got to talk with all the other coaches that were there from the boys and the girls programs, and then Ricky Goins I got to speak with, Rushville legend over there, played on that 76 runner-up team, and Chris May who runs the Hall of Fame now, was a manager at Rushville when I was an assistant coach over there. So it's good catching up with Chris, and just I'm missing some people. I know. Well, I mentioned where I was from, and some people came up, and Sheila McMillan, who was an Indiana All-Star from Rochester and in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and her husband came up and spoke with me afterwards. It's been a long time. I remember watching her play in high school.
Guy that played for the Hoosiers, tall guy.
Phil Eisenbarger.
Phil Eisenbarger,
we spoke with him a little bit, too.
He was taking the banner down. I was holding the ladder for him. He could almost reach up. And
he was about 6'8", 6'9", so, it was fun. It was neat, and, if you're a basketball nut and person like we are, that was a lot of fun up there.
And good time. Those of us that went in the same vehicle on the way up and on the way back, too.
Mr. Duncan, our athletic director, did the driving, and you, me, and J.D. Miller went along also, and we just kind of took it easy on the way up and back.
Backseat driving.
I didn't want to say that, Sam.
Is that an annual event?
Yes. They host it each year, and then this was the picnic, if you will, in the fall, just kind of an organizational type picnic. And we could have actually went up earlier in the day and golfed, but we all stayed and worked and just went up for the business part of the meeting.
Is it a basketball only thing, or is it all sports?
This is, yes.
Okay.
It's run by the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and they have a number of different events throughout the year, but they're all geared towards the basketball side of it.
Very prestigious to get invited. It's a big deal to even be invited. I think Spartans played in it last in '88 at Richmond. They used to have it at different places. lost both games, according to Coach Mark Beard. And the girls played in it, I think it was April McDivitt's freshman year, and I believe won it, which would have been about 96 or 97. So
the Hall of Fame is open for people to visit?
yes,
That's what I
yes,
thought.
yes.
Yes, it is.
Which brings me to Brett Briscoe and I used to do games together, and we were on the air one night, and I said, you know, I'd like to be in the Hall of Fame someday. And he says, pay your $10 and go in. You can go visit anytime you want. So,
Well, that wasn't very expensive to...
I don't know, but anyway, it's worth going to see.
I'll bet, yes.
I don't know what their hours are, but you can buy memberships, or you can just go up and pay to go in. Chris May does a great job. Chris is a great broadcaster as well. He worked at the radio station some in Rushville and has done TV broadcasts, play-by-play for games, and just tremendous young man. Known him since he was a baby, worked with his dad, and he does a really nice job, and it's worth people's time if you haven't been to go see the Hall of Fame.
And it's adjacent to the high school?
Just west of the field house.
That's what I thought,
on,
yes.
On Trojan Lane.
Not too far from here to visit, so it'd be worth the while.
And if you can't get there between now and then, when we go up for the morning and afternoon sessions, go over in between games and check it out.
Yes.
Just make a day of it up there.
It would be great. I know it'd be very interesting.
They have
for
a lot of gift items as well, which reminds me, we have 2,000 tickets available. Brent told me they were $10 a ticket, and they're on sale now. So it'd make great stocking stuffers, because it's right after Christmas that these are played. Make great stocking stuffers, and then maybe if you got any holiday cash, you could spend it at the Hall of Fame gift shop, because they got shirts and all kinds of things there.
Is that for the day or for a session, or do you know as far as the tickets?
I think
it's for the day, the $10 prices. Now, if you go up and buy tickets in the morning or in the evening, it might be $7 or $8 a pop if you buy them at the door. But I think buying these ahead of time is $10, and that's good for the day.
Sounds like quite an event coming up the end of the year.
It is. Looking forward to it. You got to, those that make those selections have to think a lot of Connersville and the way we play and the defense that we play, because it is considered for the best teams in the state of Indiana. So.
You know, Chris came down, I didn't know it at the time, but Chris was at our regional championship game, and just from knowing him and, you know, that time you're asking where you're going, he's usually at that time looking for teams that have a lot of youngsters, scouting them in preparation for the next year. And I didn't even think about it at the time. I thought, you know, he just came down, he was supporting the Spartans, but he was really scouting us. And then the offer came sometime after that. But that's what he was doing down there that night at Washington when we played them, and, you know, played pretty well and had him on the ropes. But he knew we had a lot of kids coming back, so.
Well, that's quite an honor. And
it is for our kids, and you know, our coaches work hard, our kids and our program work hard, and it's also an honor for our school and our community as well. I mean, I think all of it contributes to why the Connersville Spartans were on the short list to get invited to the Hall of Fame.
That's great.
I think, having one of the best fan bases in the state helps us as well in our proximity. No reason we shouldn't sell those 2,000 tickets out that we have.
Well, I would think so. Yeah. There's so much interest in the Spartans. By then will be undefeated, so.
Well, and Westfield's unique as well. They've got their boys and their girls team both coming to the tournament. So, and you know, I mean, traditionally, you know, Fort Wayne's not close. I don't know how well they'll travel. Washington's one of the girls' teams. I don't know how well they'll travel from way down there. Cathedral, they just don't normally travel that well. The other girls' team, South Bend.
Right.
I don't know. So I think having some local flavor helps with the atmosphere and the crowd.
My look at sports this week. On CHS Monday, the JV football team is at South Dearborn. The boys' tennis will be at Newcastle. On Tuesday, girls' soccer at Shelbyville. Boys' soccer home with Nicetown. Girls' golf home with Franklin County and Union County. On Wednesday, the boys tennis team will be home with Rushville. Volleyball home with Franklin County. And Thursday, it's the boys soccer at Richmond. Volleyball at North Decatur. Girls soccer home with Anderson. On Friday, the Spartans play football at Rushville. On Saturday, girls soccer will be at Batesville. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning. Volleyball will be at Franklin Invitational starting at 9 o'clock. Cross country's at Riverview Health Invitational. Where's that? Do you know, Kerry, where Riverview Health is?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming that it's somewhere over around, I would think Indianapolis.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about that.
And boys Franklin will be at, or boys soccer will be at Franklin Community at 11 o'clock on the morning. No, that's Franklin. That's their high school, right?
Yes. Over
Okay.
on the new one that's west of 31.
It's nice.
So it is
Nice
very nice
campus.
there. Yes, it is.
Okay. I mean, you can get confused with Franklin County when you see
Franklin County,
Community.
Franklin Central,
Franklin.
Frankton, yes, a lot of Franks.
Here's the records of area football teams so far. Centerville is 3-0. They won over Winchester, 54-16. They'll be home with Tri on Friday. Richmond is 1-3. They lost 16-8 to Muncie Central, home with Marion on Friday. Cambridge City is 0-2. They didn't play last week. They'll be at Hagerstown on Friday. Franklin County is 3-1. They lost 37-8 to East Central. They'll be at Lawrenceburg on Friday. Union County is 3-1. They won over Hagerstown 27-12. They're home with Winchester on Friday. Rushville is 0-4. They lost 44-0 to Batesville. They'll be home to the Spartans on Friday. The Spartans 0-4, lost 55-8 to South Dearborn. As we mentioned, they'll be visiting Rushville on Friday. Somebody's going to win.
Yeah. We don't have ties in
That's
high
true.
school football anymore, so
And we get
something's gotta
it's
give.
the War on 44,
The War on 44.
and it's the old kind of a bucket or something. Passes it.
I thought they had a trophy. I
Is
don't
that a
know.
trophy? Okay.
I think.
All right.
I think it's a traveling trophy.
And-
It's the water keg, I know, with
Okay.
Franklin County.
Okay, maybe that was what I was thinking of.
But maybe there is a bucket. I don't know. We want to bring it home, whatever it is.
whatever they've got. It belongs in
It
Connersville.
belongs in Connersville.
Right,
It's,
so-
both teams struggling. It's too bad. Too bad. The rest of they play in a tough league. EIAC minus Connersville and Rushville this year. Some pretty good teams. I was just looking at that Franklin County East Central score, and Franklin County's pretty good, but East Central beat them bad.
How good is East Central?
Yeah.
Because you saw what they did in Lawrenceburg the first week of the year, and then what they just
Right.
did Franklin County.
Yeah.
They must be pretty good again. And I think their tailback's out right now, and he's been hurt since one of their Ohio games. So they're playing without their starting tailback.
But they have over 100 kids, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
I know
Sure
when
they
you go-
do.
They run out of numbers. And have
You
to
never think
duplicate the
those
numbers.
youngsters will quit coming onto the field when
Yeah.
they're
And when we're down there, they like to show us
pregame.
that. When we're down there, they like to show us that. It seems like it's elementary school night every time we.
That's right.
They bring all those kids out as well,
They
which
all
is
have-
which
have a
is good.
special-
You know, you got to give them credit. That they do a nice job down there. But we get to see them in 3 weeks. We've got, of course, Rushville this week. We've got Simon Kenton out of Independence, Kentucky, the following week here, and then we travel to East Central after that. So not an easy route here. I think. Simon Kenton, last I checked, I don't know what they did over the weekend, but they were 0-3, just like we were at the time. But I don't know what kind of schedule they play in Northern Kentucky. They're probably pretty good schedule.
It's the Spartans. I figured they had 60 points in their ball game, which isn't a whole lot in football. But Rushville only has 7 points. They've only scored 1 touchdown in their ball games. They've had 3 shutouts. But you can throw the
Rushville's
records out the door.
quarterback
can't you?
is their starting quarterback is out. Just knowing people over there and talking to them, then their second string quarterback's been out. So they've been operating shorthanded, like we're shorthanded
too,
as
yeah.
well.
Yes.
So it'd be interesting to see if they get anybody back for the game
Yes.
this week. And
Oh, they'll probably all be ready.
yeah, yeah.
That's the way it goes when Connersville and Rushville meet. They throw the records out the window.
Right. One of the oldest and best rivalries in the state,
Yes.
I think, in all sports. You know, I talk about the 2 R's. Well, I want to go 500 on the season. We lost at Richmond, but we need to win at Rushville for sure.
Hopefully the Spartans will be up to the game. They struggled the other evening a little bit. But,
Yeah.
fall
South Dearborn
behind.
has really built their program. Their coach down there, Rand's his first name, can't think of his last name.
Ballard.
Ballard.
His dad was the coach at East Central for years when they were really good, winning state championships.
You know, and on the air the other night, I gave him some credit too, because Justin Jackson, our head coach, had worked under him for a year, and I believe it was right before halftime. They were well within scoring distance and probably were on their way to another 7 points. But the coach brought in of course, they got a girl kicker that's a freshman. Brought her in, I think twofold. Opportunity for her to kick a field goal and see if she could do it, but it was like 35 yards or something. And the other thing was not to run up the score. Now, you can't tell the kids don't score, and they did in the second half, but on the other hand, it wasn't like they were pushing to run up the score. So I thought that was a sportsmanlike move on coach's part. And I could have been surmising that, but I think that was maybe
Yes.
part of it.
Good. Good.
Well, that's the way it should be. Speaking of running up the score, what's your feeling on that, Coach?
Well, Sam's indicated, I mean, you can't tell the kids not to play,
Sure.
but for example, if it was in a basketball game and it was out of hand, you would do things like you'd tell your kids no fast breaks. You'd tell your kids make an extra pass or two, just so it doesn't make it worse. I know soccer now this year, if it's a 9-0 game in the second half, and I could be wrong, correct me, they just call the game, right? And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I also don't agree with when there's 30 seconds to go in the game, like I watch in AAU, the referee calls the game. Because I think we're trying to, anyway, we're trying to teach people to compete until the end, never quit, never ever give up. So when we do things like that, and you know, you can still compete and try to get deflections or steals without fouling and putting them on the free throw line. There's just some things that we're moving towards that I'm not a fan or a proponent of. To call the game in soccer, if that's in fact what they're doing now, if it's 9-0 in the second half, I'm not a big fan of that.
Football, maybe, you know, a running clock, maybe that's a little different.
But they're still going to finish the game.
You're still going to finish the game. Sure.
You know, you've still got your timeouts if you want to stop the clock. Other than that, it is going to run, but it just, that's not as, I don't think that's near as bad as just calling the game if you get down 9-0.
There's an opportunity to play some other kids that maybe wouldn't play otherwise. Basketball, do we have a mercy rule?
Not yet.
IHSA.
Nope.
You know, they keep wanting to figure out ways of shortening the game. Well, my thinking, why in the world would you ever want to shorten something that was so good?
And I guess the other thing is, to be completely honest, you don't ever want to embarrass anybody you're playing against. But if I'm on the other side of that score, getting trounced, we need to get better. And that's a part of it as well.
Sure.
We need to do what we need to do to get better. And you know, there's two sides of that argument. The team that's winning and the team that's losing. The team that's losing, whether it's us or someone else, you need to work and grind and get better. And the other guys do need to be good sports and not run it up, but still, you know, be respectful and play the game.
What about the middle school here at Connersville in basketball? What's it look like? And you have the same coaches?
Yes and no. Brian Munchell's going to come back as one of our middle school coaches, 7th grade. Kevin Gibson and Chad French were both with us last year. And then actually Joey Seidel, who's one of our middle school coaches, is going to move up and coach at the freshman level this year. And I don't know if I can say who I'm trying to get in at because it's not official. Former Spartan, though. You guys both, I'm sure, know him and will remember him from his playing days here, but trying to get another former Spartan in the program down there. And so we'll be in good shape. And we've got good kids coming through like we have for the 13 years that I've been here.
You've got quite a program going. It's paying off.
We're doing a good job. We've been fortunate, good parents, good kids, good assistant coaches, good buy-in, and I think that's an important part of it. You know, everybody being on the same page and striving in the same direction, having the same goals.
Now we need the health people to cooperate and have a regular season.
We're going to do our best.
I know
we're masking up at school now and trying to socially distance and trying to be smart about that. I'm vaccinated, so you know, right now we just do the best we can and take care of ourselves, but keep other people in mind as well.
Sure.
You talked about former players, former alum or alum of CHS. I think it's nice to have those guys in the mix. They're part of the tradition.
And they want to see us continue to do well. Not that someone that wasn't from Connersville that maybe comes here and coaches doesn't, but I guess there may be a little bit extra motivation on their part to make sure that their sons and/or the future Spartans are going to have the same types of experiences and successes that they had when they were a player here, and it's a way of giving back. You know, you were rewarded and honored and had that position. It's just a way of giving back to future Spartans and down the road.
Well, the program's a great one here at CHS, and I know it's the envy of several schools.
Well, thank you. Doesn't, you know, something like that doesn't happen just by accident, and it doesn't happen overnight, and it didn't for us. We've grinded and worked and been in the trenches, but we've asked the kids to be in the trenches as well. And you know, it's easy. The kids, almost everybody wants to be a Spartan, so that makes our job easier from that standpoint. But you know, our workouts are at 6 a.m. in the summertime, and sometimes there's 2-a-days. And now it's hard. It's you know, it's not easy, but the level and the competition we play, we need to be in the positions that we're in and working at the level that we're asking our kids to work at. Today I was going back over the numbers and figuring out our strongest kids over the years, and I've got to find a couple of those years, but I was way back to 2014 and 2021 this past summer, and I want to put that up to motivate our current kids. If they're just not quite there, that they'll work hard or even harder to try to get into on our leaderboard in our weight room part of our basketball program.
I have to mention the last ball game you played last year, Silver Creek went on to win. You gave them the fright of their life because of the defense you played, and I think their coach is very complimentary.
Yeah, he was, and you know, we felt like we should have won the game, and then who knows, the next week we would have got to play Guerin, and Silver Creek beat them, and then very close game in the state championship against Leo, but Silver Creek won again, so that's the second time they've won with that group of players, so they were a tremendous team.
Yes, they were, and I think we can be right back.
We were right there. So those are our goals. You know, it's not going to be, we could have lost the first game of the sectional, if you guys remember that. A lot of people forgot about that, but we had to come from behind to beat South Dearborn in a close game, and then we're right there with Silver Creek in the regional championship, and they win it all. So it's a crazy game.
Fun game.
Fun game.
Yeah.
Coach Brown, thanks a lot. We enjoy always having you on and talk Spartan sports, and it won't be long before round ball will be going.
Good to see you back. I haven't seen you yet, and thank you for having me in, guys.
Thanks again, Coach. Thanks, everybody, for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3.